The cold wind howled across the rocky surface of New Terra as Commander Sarah Chen stood before the memorial wall. Thousands of names covered the black stone surface. These were the names of humans who had died during the long journey from Earth. Her own great-grandmother's name was carved near the top. Sarah touched the stone gently. 30,000 years had passed since the day her people fled their homeworld. 30,000 years since the aliens came and destroyed everything humans had built. The pain still felt fresh, passed down through stories, songs, and sacred records that every human child learned by heart. "Commander Chen, we have received something." Lieutenant Martinez approached her carefully. His voice carried excitement and fear in equal measure. Sarah turned away from the wall. Martinez held a data pad in his shaking hands. The screen showed symbols that made her heart race. She had seen these symbols before, carved into the oldest archives deep beneath their city. "When did this arrive?" she asked, taking the pad from him. 10 minutes ago. It came through the deep space relay. The signal is weak, but the encryption is definitely ours. Old Earth encryption that only we would know." Sarah read the message 3 times before she could believe it. The transmission contained star coordinates and a list of colony names, names she recognized from the ancient records, names of human settlements that were supposed to be dead for 30,000 years. "They survived," she whispered. "Other colonies survived." The message ended with a single word that sent chills down her spine. Reckoning. Sarah called an emergency meeting of the Colony Council. 23 men and women gathered in the underground chamber where all important decisions were made. The walls showed images of old Earth, pictures saved from the day their ancestors fled. "The message is real," Sarah announced. "We are not alone. Other human colonies exist throughout the galaxy. They have been hiding, just like us." Elder Thompson, the oldest member of the council, leaned forward. His eyes were bright with tears. "How many colonies?" The message lists 47 different locations. Some are confirmed active, others show question marks. Sarah displayed the data on the main screen. "But there is more. The message includes technical specifications for ships and weapons, technology far beyond what we have." Council member Reeves studied the data carefully. "These designs are impossible. The power requirements alone would need energy sources that do not exist." "Unless they found new ways to make energy," Sarah replied. 30,000 years is a long time. If we could build this colony from nothing, imagine what others might have achieved. The council discussed the message for hours. Some members were excited. Others were afraid. All of them remembered the stories of what happened to Earth. Elder Thompson spoke for many when he said, "The aliens wanted us dead. They believed humans were too dangerous to live. If they discover that we survived, they will come for us again." "Then we make sure they cannot," Sarah answered firmly. "The message is clear. Our people are no longer running. They are preparing to go home." Over the next weeks, Sarah learned more about the message. The technical specifications were real and could be built. The colony's best engineers worked day and night to understand the new designs. Dr. Kim, their chief scientist, was amazed by what she found. "These are not just weapons," she explained to Sarah. "These are tools that can change the basic rules of how things work. Space, time, matter itself can be controlled with this technology." "How is that possible?" Sarah asked. "I think our people learned from the aliens who destroyed Earth. Not just their technology, but their weaknesses too. Every piece of this data is designed to counter specific alien abilities." Sarah walked through the colony's main street that evening. Children played in the fading light while their parents worked in the shops and factories. These people had never seen Earth, but they called it home anyway. Their ancestors had made sure that human culture, human dreams, and human anger all survived the long journey to this distant world. The next morning brought another message. This one was different. It came with video. A man appeared on the screen. He wore a uniform that Sarah did not recognize, but his face was clearly human. Behind him, she could see a massive ship bridge with dozens of crew members working at stations. "Greetings, New Terra Colony," the man said. "I am Admiral Marcus Reeves of the Human Liberation Fleet. The time for hiding is over. The time for justice has come. The video showed images that took Sarah's breath away. Huge fleets of human ships moving through space, planets where millions of humans lived and worked, cities that made New Terra look like a small village. We have spent 30,000 years preparing, Admiral Reeves continued. We have learned everything about our enemies. We know their weaknesses, their fears, their guilty secrets. We know which of them voted to destroy Earth and which of them pulled the trigger. The video ended with coordinates and a simple instruction. Prepare your people. The galaxy will know that humanity has returned. Sarah called another council meeting. This time, the discussion was shorter. The evidence was overwhelming. Somewhere out there, their people had become strong enough to challenge the aliens who had seemed all-powerful 30,000 years ago. What do we do? Asked Council Member Okafor. Sarah looked around the room at the faces of her people's leaders. These were the descendants of refugees, but they carried the same spirit that had built civilizations on Earth. We prepare, she said simply. We build the ships. We train our people. And we remember why our ancestors kept the old stories alive. Elder Thompson nodded slowly. My grandmother told me that her grandmother made her promise to never forget. Never forgive. The aliens thought they had killed humanity. They were wrong. Over the following months, New Terra changed completely. The peaceful farming colony became a military base. Factories that had made farming tools now built weapons. Schools that had taught children about growing crops now taught them about fighting wars. The new technology was difficult to understand, but it worked. Dr. Kim's team built their first test ship in 6 months. When they activated its engines, the ship simply disappeared from normal space and reappeared on the other side of the solar system. How did we do that? Asked Lieutenant Martinez, who had volunteered to pilot the test flight. We folded space itself, Dr. Kim explained. The ship did not move through space. We made space move around the ship. Young people volunteered for the new military units faster than they could be trained. Everyone wanted to be part of humanity's return to the galaxy. Sarah was proud of their courage, but she also worried about what they would face. The final message from Admiral Reeves arrived, exactly 1 year after the first contact. This time it included detailed plans and a timeline. The operation begins in 3 months, the Admiral announced. Every human colony will play their part. We will hit them where they least expect it. We will show them what 30,000 years of human anger looks like. Sarah stood again before the memorial wall as she had a year earlier, but now she was not alone. Hundreds of people stood with her, wearing the uniforms of the new Human Liberation Forces. Today we remember our dead, she said to the crowd. Tomorrow, we make sure they are avenged. The names on the wall seemed to glow in the setting sun. Sarah touched her great-grandmother's name one more time. We are coming home, she whispered. The Hegemony Defense Station Omega-7 floated peacefully in the void between star systems. Its massive sensors watched for threats from all directions. For 30,000 years, these sensors had never detected anything dangerous. The galaxy was safe under hegemony protection. High Commander Zethkar of the Quellian race reviewed the daily reports with satisfaction. 12 species worked together to maintain peace and order. Pirates were caught before they could attack. Rebellions were stopped before they could start. The dangerous humans were long extinct. All sectors report normal activity, announced Sensor Operator Velm. Trade routes are secure, no unusual signals detected. Zethkar nodded approvingly. The younger crew members did not remember the human wars, but he did. He had been there when the Hegemony Council voted to eliminate the human threat. He had watched their homeworld burn from space. Humans were like a disease, he told the new officers during training. They spread too fast. They fought too hard. They refused to accept their place in the natural order. Removing them was necessary for galactic peace. The first sign of trouble came at exactly 1547 ship time. The long-range sensors detected a small distortion in deep space. Velm checked his instruments twice before reporting it. Hi, Commander. I am reading something strange. There appears to be a gravitational anomaly approximately 1 million kilometers ahead. Zethkar studied the sensor data. The readings made no sense. Space itself seemed to be bending in ways that should not be possible. Run a full diagnostic. On all sensors, he ordered. The equipment must be malfunctioning, but the sensors were working perfectly. The anomaly was real and it was growing larger. At 1552, the first human ship appeared. It materialized out of nothing, as if space had simply decided to create a vessel from pure thought. The ship was enormous, larger than any hegemony capital ship. Its hull was black and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Red alert!" Zethkar shouted. "All weapons to maximum power. Send emergency signals to Hegemony Command." Before the defense station could fire a single shot, more ships appeared. Dozens of them, then hundreds. Each one materialized in perfect formation around the first vessel. They had somehow bypassed every early warning system in the galaxy. The AO communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke in perfect galactic standard, but with an accent that made Zethkar's blood run cold. "Greetings, Omega-7. This is Admiral Marcus Reeves of the Human Liberation Fleet. Do not attempt to resist. You are surrounded by forces beyond your understanding." Zethkar stared at the main screen in disbelief. "Impossible. Humans are extinct. We made sure of it." "High Commander." Velm's voice was shaking. "I am detecting over 2,000 human vessels. They are everywhere. How did they get past our sensors?" Admiral Reeves appeared on the main communication screen. He was clearly human, but something was different about him. His eyes seemed to hold knowledge that no living being should possess. "You are wondering how we found you," the Admiral said calmly. "The answer is simple. We never left. Some of us have been living among you for centuries, watching, learning, preparing." The Admiral gestured and the screen changed to show images that made Zethkar sick. Human agents revealed themselves on hegemony ships throughout the galaxy. Trusted advisors, security officers, even some council members had been humans in disguise. "This is impossible," Zethkar whispered. "Our security systems would have detected human DNA. Our telepaths would have sensed human thoughts." Admiral Reeves smiled coldly. "Your security systems were designed by humans. Your telepaths have been reading thoughts we wanted them to read. For 30,000 years, we have been living in your homes, eating at your tables, earning your trust." More reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Human fleets were appearing near every major hegemony stronghold. Defense networks that had taken millennia to build were shutting down without explanation. Automated weapons were turning on their own ships. "How are you doing this?" Zethkar demanded. "We learned from you," Admiral Reeves replied. "Every technology you used to destroy our worlds, we mastered. Every weapon you built to kill our people, we improved. But we learned something else too. We learned patience." The human ships began to move in patterns that defied physics. They folded space around themselves, making distance meaningless. They phased through solid matter as if it did not exist. Some ships seemed to age decades in seconds, then return to their original state. Dr. Elena Vasquez appeared beside Admiral Reeves on the screen. She wore the uniform of a hegemony science officer, but her eyes held the same impossible knowledge. "High Commander Zethkar," she said pleasantly. "You probably do not remember me. I have been serving on your Science Council for 80 years. I helped design your current sensor systems." Zethkar's legs nearly gave out. Dr. Vasquez had been his trusted advisor for decades. She had attended his family celebrations. She had saved his ship from pirates 3 times. "Elena?" he whispered. "You are human?" "I am Dr. Elena Vasquez, xenobiologist, Human Liberation Fleet. I specialize in studying alien biology and psychology. You have been an excellent test subject, High Commander." The screen changed again to show detailed files on every member of Zethkar's crew. Not just their service records, but their personal fears, their genetic weaknesses, their deepest secrets. "We know everything about you," Dr. Vasquez continued. "Your species' vulnerability to sonic frequencies, your inability to process certain proteins, the way your nervous system shuts down when exposed to specific electromagnetic fields." Admiral Reeves took control of the communication again. "High Commander, you have a choice to make. Surrender your station and your crew will be unharmed. Resist and discover what 30,000 years of human anger looks like." Zethkar looked around his bridge. His crew was terrified, but they We're still loyal. They would fight if he ordered it, but what was the point? The humans had already won before the battle even started. What do you want? He asked quietly. We want what you took from us, Admiral Reeves replied. We want justice. We want the galaxy to remember what happens when you try to make humanity extinct. The human fleet began to move away from the defense station. They did not attack or board the facility. They simply left, but not before delivering one final message. Tell your council that humanity has returned, Admiral Reeves said. Tell them we remember everything. Every world you destroyed, every life you took, every lie you told about why it was necessary. As the human ships disappeared back into whatever impossible space they had come from, Zethkar slumped in his command chair. The most powerful defense station in the galaxy had been helpless against them. Send an immediate message to Hegemony Command, he ordered weakly. Priority 1 emergency. The humans are alive. They are here. And they are nothing like the species we destroyed 30,000 years ago. Velm worked frantically at his station. High Commander, the communication systems are not responding. Neither are the hyperspace transmitters. We are completely cut off. Zethkar realized the truth with growing horror. The humans had not attacked the station to destroy it. They had used it to send a message to the entire galaxy. Every defense network would have detected the human fleet. Every military commander would know that the impossible had happened. Humanity had returned, and they were no longer the weak refugees who had fled into space 30,000 years ago. They had become something new, something that could appear anywhere, anytime, with weapons and knowledge that the hegemony could not understand or counter. The war for revenge had begun, and the hegemony had already lost the first battle without firing a single shot. The Hegemony Council chambers had not seen such chaos in 10,000 years. Representatives from all 12 species shouted at each other, while emergency reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Human fleets had appeared near every major stronghold, then vanished like ghosts. High Counselor Zerath of the Veltar tried to maintain order with his telepathic abilities, but even his powerful mind could not calm the fear that filled the room. Order! We must have order! He projected his thoughts to all present. Fighting among ourselves will not solve this crisis. Counselor Brimtar of the Corum species stood at his station, his mechanical body clicking with agitation. The humans should be extinct. Our records show every colony was destroyed. How can they have such advanced ships? Perhaps our records were wrong, suggested Counselor Thuvan of the peaceful Althari. Perhaps some humans escaped to areas we never searched. The massive form of Counselor Grokmar from the warrior Zeltharian race slammed his fist on the table. It does not matter how they survived. What matters is that they dare to threaten the hegemony. We destroyed them once. We can do it again. Before anyone could respond, the main communication system activated without permission. Admiral Marcus Reeves appeared on the central display, standing on the bridge of his impossible ship. Greetings, Hegemony Council, he said with calm politeness. I apologize for interrupting your discussion, but I wanted to address some concerns you might have. Counselor Zerath stepped forward, his tentacles writhing with anger. How are you accessing our private communications? This chamber is protected by the strongest security in the galaxy. Admiral Reeves smiled slightly. Is it? Dr. Vasquez, would you care to explain? The image shifted to show Dr. Elena Vasquez standing in what appeared to be the Council's own security center. Behind her, hegemony technicians worked at their stations as if nothing unusual was happening. The security system was installed by Corum Technical Solutions approximately 50 years ago, she explained cheerfully. The lead designer was a human named Roberts who had been working under the identity Tech-49. Every system in this building was designed with human override capabilities. Counselor Brimtar's mechanical voice rose to a shriek. Impossible! Tech-49 was scanned, DNA tested, memory probed. Yes, he was, Dr. Vasquez agreed. The DNA belonged to a Corum citizen who died in an accident. The memories were artificially implanted. The body was grown in our biolabs using hybrid technology. We have been perfecting these techniques for 20,000 years. Admiral Reeves returned to the screen. We wanted you to understand something before we begin. You are not fighting the same humans you destroyed 30,000 years ago. We have evolved. To demonstrate his point, the Admiral gestured toward something off-screen. The view changed to show space around the council building. Hegemony defense ships were floating dead in the void, their hulls aged to rust and their crews unharmed but unconscious. We aged their ships 300 years in 30 seconds, Admiral Reeves explained casually. The crews are sleeping and will wake up safely in a few hours. We could have done worse, but we chose not to. Today. Counselor Grokmar drew his ceremonial war blade. Sorcery. Humans do not possess such abilities. You are correct, Admiral. Reeves replied. Humans do not naturally possess such abilities, but we learned from the species that destroyed our world. Every piece of technology you used against us, we studied and improved. Every biological advantage your species claimed, we found ways to duplicate or counter. The screen split to show different human operations across the galaxy. Zeltharian warrior fleets found their weapons turning to dust in their hands. Corum quantum computers began calculating their own destruction. Veltar telepaths discovered that their mental powers reflected back at them amplified and painful. Each of your species has unique gifts, Dr. Vasquez continued. The Corim mastered quantum mechanics. The Veltar developed telepathy. The Zeltharians perfected combat techniques. But none of you thought to combine these abilities. Humans did. Admiral. Reeves leaned forward. We are here to discuss terms. Terms? Counselor Zerath's mental voice was sharp with disbelief. You attack our ships and expect us to negotiate? We have not attacked anyone, Admiral Reeves corrected. We have demonstrated capabilities. There is a difference. You may verify that every crew member on every disabled ship is alive and unharmed. Captain Alex Morrison appeared on another part of the screen. Behind him, a massive hegemony space station floated peacefully while human ships surrounded it. This is Fortress Omega Prime, he reported. Population, 47 million beings, from 9 different species. Current status, completely defenseless but unharmed. We have disabled their weapons, shields, and communication systems. No injuries reported. Similar reports came in from across the galaxy. Hundreds of hegemony strongholds had been neutralized without a single death. The message was clear. Humanity could have killed billions of beings but chose not to. What do you want? Counselor Thuvan asked quietly. Admiral Reeves's expression became serious. We want acknowledgement. We want the galaxy to know the truth about what happened to Earth and why. The screen changed to show historical records that made several council members gasp in recognition. These were classified files from 30,000 years ago, documenting the real reasons for humanity's destruction. The official story says humans were eliminated because they were too aggressive, Admiral Reeves continued. The truth is that humans were eliminated because they were too successful. Human colonies were outproducing hegemony worlds. Human science was advancing faster than your research institutes. Human culture was spreading to other species. The records showed secret meetings where hegemony leaders discussed the human problem. The fear was not that humans would attack other species, but that other species would choose to join human civilization instead of remaining in the hegemony. You destroyed us because you were afraid of competition, Dr. Vasquez added. Not military. Competition. Economic and cultural competition. Counselor Brimtar's mechanical voice was subdued. These records were sealed. How did you access them? We told you, Admiral Reeves replied. Some of us never left. We have been living among you for centuries. We helped write some of these reports. Captain Morrison's image returned. We have a proposition for the Council. Acknowledge the truth about Earth's destruction. Allow us to return to our ancestral territories. Accept that humanity has a right to exist in this galaxy. And if we refuse? Counselor Grokmar demanded. Admiral Reeves was quiet for a long moment. Then you will learn what 30,000 years of human anger actually looks like. What you have seen today is mercy. Do not mistake it for weakness. The human ships around the space station began to change. Their hulls shifted color and shape, revealing weapons that seemed to bend light around themselves. Energy readings spiked beyond anything the hegemony had ever recorded. We do not want to become the galaxy's new tyrants, Admiral Reeves continued. But we will not allow ourselves to be victims again. The choice is yours. The transmission ended, leaving the Council in stunned silence. The most powerful military alliance in galactic history had been neutralized in a single day without losing a single soldier. Counselor Thuven spoke first. They could have killed us all. Why did they not? Because they are not us, Counselor Zerath replied quietly. We destroyed them out of fear. They are offering us a chance we never gave them. Outside the council chambers, human ships waited, in the void like patient predators. They had demonstrated their power and made their offer. Now they would see if 30,000 years had taught the galaxy anything about justice. The age of hegemony dominance was over. The question now was whether the galaxy's new era would begin with wisdom or with war. The Hegemony Council had 3 days to consider humanity's offer. They spent those days in desperate discussion, but their answer was predictable. On the 3rd day, Counselor Grokmar delivered their response with typical Zeltharian arrogance. The Hegemony does not negotiate with terrorists. We reject your demands. We call upon all loyal species to unite against this human threat. Admiral Reeves received the message aboard his flagship while reviewing reports from across the galaxy. He felt no surprise, only a deep sadness for what would happen next. They have chosen the hard way, he said to Dr. Vasquez. Begin Operation Harvest. Captain Alex Morrison led the first Shepard unit to the Coram home system. The Coram were known throughout the galaxy for their advanced quantum computers and mechanical perfection. Their ships were engineering marvels that had never been defeated in battle. Morrison's team consisted of only 12 humans in a single small ship. They appeared at the edge of the Coram system and sent a simple message to the massive defense fleet waiting for them. This is Captain Morrison of the Human Liberation Fleet. We offer you one final chance to surrender. Admiral Zektron of the Coram fleet laughed at the audacity. His fleet contained over 300 ships, each one larger and more heavily armed than the small human vessel. 12 humans against the entire Coram Navy? He transmitted back. Your arrogance will be your destruction. Morrison's response was gentle but firm. We are not here to fight you, Admiral. We are here to teach you. The Coram fleet opened fire with everything they had. Quantum torpedoes that could destroy planets streaked toward the human ship. Energy weapons that could crack moons focused. Their power on a single target. Every shot missed. The human ship moved through space in ways that violated basic physics. It was in 3 places at once, then nowhere, then everywhere. The Coram targeting computers could not lock onto something that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Impossible, Admiral Zektron screamed. Nothing can move like that. Morrison's voice came through the communication system with infinite patience. Admiral, your computers are very smart. They can calculate quantum possibilities across millions of variables. But they make one basic assumption, that there is only one reality at a time. The human ship began to multiply. 1 became 2, then 4, then dozens. Each copy was equally real and equally impossible. We learned to exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously, Morrison explained as his ship copies surrounded the Coram fleet. Your computers cannot target us because we are not entirely in your reality. But Morrison was not finished with his lesson. You built your quantum computers to be perfect. They always find the correct answer to any problem. Let us give them a problem to solve. The human ships transmitted a single equation to every Coram computer in the system. It appeared to be a simple mathematical formula, but when the quantum processors began to calculate it, something impossible happened. Equation had no solution. Coram computers had been designed to find answers to everything. When faced with a problem that could not be solved, they began to consume more and more processing power trying to find an answer that did not exist. One by one, every Coram computer in the system burned out. Ships dead in space. Space stations going dark. even personal devices overloading and failing. "What have you done?" Admiral Zektron asked in horror. "We gave your perfect computers a taste of human illogic," Morrison replied. "The equation represents a philosophical paradox that has no mathematical answer. Your machines could not accept that some problems cannot be solved with pure logic. Without their computers, the mighty Corum fleet was helpless. Their ships could not navigate, their weapons could not aim, and their life support systems began to fail." Morrison's ship moved close to the Admiral's flagship. "Do you surrender?" Meanwhile, in the Veltar system, another Shepard unit faced a different challenge. The Veltar were the galaxy's most powerful telepaths. They could read thoughts, control minds, and project mental energy across vast distances. Commander Sarah Chen personally led this mission. She had volunteered because Veltar telepaths had been present when Earth was destroyed. She wanted to face them herself. "Human thoughts are chaotic and disorganized," announced Veltar Prime Zelnoth as his mental warriors prepared for battle. "We will crush their minds as easily as we would crush insects." The Veltar unleashed their psychic powers against the human ship. Mental energy that could drive entire populations insane focused on the 12 humans inside. Nothing happened. Sarah's voice came through the communication system, calm and untroubled. "Prime Zelnoth, we appreciate your efforts, but human minds have evolved since our last meeting." The truth was more disturbing than the Veltar could imagine. Humans had learned to partition their consciousness into multiple layers. The surface thoughts that telepaths could read were carefully constructed facades. The real human minds operated deeper, protected by barriers of pure willpower. "Your mental attacks are hitting empty rooms," Sarah explained. "The real us is somewhere you cannot reach." But humans had learned to do more than just defend against telepathy. They had learned to reflect it. The Veltar suddenly found their own psychic energy turned back on them, amplified and focused. They experienced the mental chaos of human consciousness at full intensity. The raw emotions, the contradictory thoughts, the sheer noise of human mental activity overwhelmed their ordered minds. One by one, the Veltar telepaths collapsed, their minds stunned by the experience of thinking like humans. "Do you surrender?" Sarah asked gently. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out as each hegemony species faced their worst nightmares. The proud Zeltharian warriors discovered that their ceremonial weapons crumbled to dust when they tried to use them against humans. The energy-based Photari found that humans could absorb and redirect their natural electricity. The hive-minded Sectani learned that humans could jam their telepathic network with pure chaotic thought. But humanity's greatest weapon was not technology or evolved abilities. It was knowledge. Dr. Vasquez activated communication systems across the galaxy and began to broadcast the true history of Earth's destruction. She showed images of human families being murdered. She played recordings of hegemony leaders laughing about extermination. She revealed the real reasons behind humanity's destruction. "Your leaders told you that humans were dangerous." Her voice reached every inhabited world. "They told you that eliminating humanity would bring peace. But they never told you that humans had offered to share their technology freely. They never mentioned that human colonies were helping other species advance. They never explained that the real threat was not human aggression, but human generosity." The broadcast showed how human scientists had been developing cures for diseases that plagued other species, how human engineers had been designing better ships for alien allies, how human diplomats had been working to bring peace between warring worlds. Humans were destroyed because they were making the galaxy a better place. Dr. Vasquez continued. "Your leaders feared that other species would choose human leadership over hegemony control. Species that had supported the human extermination began to reconsider their position. Populations that had cheered Earth's destruction learned that they had been lied to for 30,000 years. Rebellion began to spread through hegemony space. Not violent revolution, but something worse for the leadership. Peaceful refusal to follow orders." Admiral Reeves watched the reports with satisfaction. The hegemony was not being conquered by human armies. It was collapsing under the weight of its own lies. "Operation Harvest is proceeding as planned," he reported to the human fleet commanders. "Estimated time to complete victory, 72 hours." The galaxy was learning that humans had returned not just with superior technology, but with something far more dangerous. The truth. And the truth was that the hegemony had never been about peace or protection. It had always been about power, fear, and the elimination of anyone who offered a better way. The final confrontation took place not in space, but in the abandoned ruins of Earth's capital city. Admiral Marcus Reeves stood among the twisted metal and glass that had once been humanity's greatest achievement. Beside him, the surviving members of the Hegemony Council waited under guard. They had come here by choice, not force. After 72 hours of watching their civilization crumble, the Council had requested this meeting. They wanted to surrender, but they also wanted to understand what humanity planned to do with victory. "This was London," Admiral Reeves said quietly, gesturing to the broken landscape around them. 8 million humans lived here when your fleets arrived. They built hospitals, schools, libraries. They created art and music and literature that enriched the entire galaxy. High Counselor Zerath of the Veltar looked around at the destruction with genuine remorse. His telepathic abilities let him sense the emotional echoes that still lingered in this place. Fear, pain, and desperate love for children who would never grow up. "We were told this was necessary," he said weakly. "We were told humans would destroy galactic peace." Commander Sarah Chen emerged from behind a collapsed building. She carried a small device that projected holographic images into the air. The images showed Earth as it had been: green forests, blue oceans, cities full of life and hope. "My great-grandmother lived here," she said, pointing to a section of rubble. "She was a teacher. She helped children from 7 different species learn to read. When your ships came, she was in her classroom protecting alien students from the bombs." Dr. Elena Vasquez joined them, her scanner detecting faint traces of radioactivity that still lingered after 30,000 years. "The quantum torpedoes you used were designed to make this world uninhabitable forever. You did not just kill humans, you murdered the future." Counselor Grokmar of the Zeltarian stepped forward. Despite his defeat, the warrior's pride remained intact. "What is your point, humans? You have won. We have lost. Do you want us to grovel? Do you want revenge? Kill us and be done with it." Admiral Reeves turned to face the council members. His eyes held the weight of 30 millennia, but also something the aliens had not expected: compassion. "No," he said simply. "We do not want revenge. We want justice. There is a difference." Captain Alex Morrison approached the group, leading representatives from dozens of species that had served under hegemony rule. But these were not prisoners. They were volunteers who had chosen to stand with humanity after learning the truth. Species that acknowledge their role in the genocide and show genuine remorse will be offered a chance to join the new galactic order, Morrison announced. Those that refuse to accept responsibility will be isolated on their homeworlds until they change their minds. "And those of us who voted for Earth's destruction?" Counselor Brimtar asked, his mechanical voice showing no emotion. Dr. Vasquez consulted her datapad. "Interesting question. Our records show that the vote was not unanimous. 3 council members opposed the extermination order. 4 abstained. Only 5 actually voted for genocide." The council members looked at each other in shock. Most of them had assumed that the decision had been unanimous. "Counselor Thuvan of the Althari," Sarah continued, reading from the same records. "You argued that humans should be relocated, not exterminated. Counselor Neelith of the Crystari suggested that humans could be restricted to specific systems. Counselor Velmoth of the Etherians refused to participate in the vote at all." Admiral Reeves smiled slightly. "We have been watching you for 30,000 years. We know which of you are genuine monsters and which of you were simply following orders or making decisions based on false information." The 3 named council members stepped forward hesitantly. They had lived with guilt for 30 millennia, believing they had failed to prevent genocide. "We tried to stop it," Thuvan whispered. "We were overruled." "We know," Admiral Reeves replied gently. "You will be offered full pardons and positions in the new government." Your species will receive preferential treatment in trade and territory disputes. But Councillor Grokmar, who had cast one of the 5 votes for extermination, snarled with rage. You expect us to accept human rule? We are warriors. We do not bow to anyone. Morrison stepped closer to the Zeltharian leader. You misunderstand. We are not here to rule anyone. We are here to make sure that genocide never happens again. Sarah activated another holographic display. This one showed the plans for the new galactic government. It was not a human empire, but a true democracy where every species had representation based on population and contribution to galactic welfare. The Terran Concordat will be governed by elected representatives from all member species, she explained. Humans will have no special privileges beyond the right to exist. Dr. Vasquez added, however, there will be strict rules about how conflicts are resolved. No species will ever again have the power to vote another species out of existence. Disputes will be settled through mediation, economic pressure, or in extreme cases, isolation. What about our homeworlds? Zerath asked. What about our people who had nothing to do with the decisions made by their leaders? Admiral Reeves gestured toward the sky, where human ships waited in Earth's orbit. Every species that joins the Concordat will keep their territory and autonomy. You will govern yourselves according to your own customs and laws, but you will also contribute to galactic defense and participate in shared scientific advancement. Morrison pulled out a tablet showing technological specifications. Humans will share everything we have learned during our exile. Faster than light, travel, quantum manipulation, biological enhancement, consciousness transfer. All of it will be available to species that prove they can use such power responsibly. And if we refuse? Brimtar asked. Sarah's expression became serious. Then you will remain on your homeworlds. No trade, no communication, no expansion. You will be free to live as you choose, but you will be alone. The council members discussed among themselves in hushed tones. They had expected execution or slavery. Instead, they were being offered partnership or isolation. It was more mercy than they had shown humanity. Thuvan spoke for the group. How do we know you will keep these promises? How do we know humans will not become the tyrants we were? Dr. Vasquez smiled and activated one final holographic display. It showed Earth as it was being restored. Massive terraforming ships were rebuilding the atmosphere. Genetic engineering was bringing extinct species back to life. The dead world was blooming with new forests and clean oceans. Because, she said, humans do not destroy. We build, we heal, we create. That is what we have always done, and it is what we will continue to do. Admiral Reeves walked to the center of the group. 30,000 years ago, your leaders made a choice based on fear. Today, you get to make a choice based on hope. You can help us build a galaxy where differences are celebrated instead of eliminated, where no species lives in fear of genocide, where cooperation replaces conquest. He extended his hand toward the council members. The question is, what do you choose? One by one, the council members who had opposed the genocide stepped forward to shake his hand. Thuvan, Nilith, and Velmoth would help establish the new government. 3 others, including Zerath, chose to accept reduced roles in exchange for their species' inclusion in the Concordat. They would work to earn redemption through service. But Grokmar and one other counselor stepped back. Warriors do not bow, Grokmar declared. We choose isolation. Morrison nodded respectfully. Your choice is honored. Transport ships are waiting to take you home. As the meeting ended, Sarah looked up at Earth's poisoned sky. Already, human terraforming technology was beginning to clear the radiation and toxins. In a few years, this world would be green again. It is finished, she said, to Admiral Reeves. No, he replied, watching the first human children in 30,000 years playing in a temporary shelter nearby. It is just beginning. Today we stopped running. Tomorrow we start building. The galaxy had learned that humans could not be destroyed, only transformed into something stronger. The age of fear was ending. The age of hope had begun. and in the restored archives of Earth, a new entry was written. On this day, humanity returned not as conquerors, but as gardeners. We came not to destroy civilizations, but to plant the seeds of a better galaxy for all species to share.